stating what the entire American press has said, starting from the most skeptical, New York Times, to Washington Post, to the LA Times, to the Wall Street Journal. Viewers, I have a whole list here of headlines. The Boston Globe, all of them have said that ties between the two countries couldn't be stronger, couldn't be brighter, and most importantly, that both these leaders avoided the pitfalls of one-upmanship, of the kind of clinches and viewers' conflicts that the usual suspects, that an ecosystem was predicting. They were actually delighting and hoping this would happen. Before the meeting, the ecosystem was certain that Modi wouldn't be able to stand up to Trump and defend India's interests. They were waiting for Trump to throw the kitchen sink at Modi and by extension at India. Then they would have said, this leader who says that he has a 56-inch chest, now look at him. Viewers, as it turns out, the US President complimented Prime Minister Modi for being the tougher negotiator. He said there's just no comparison, there is no competition. The guy is better. He said it to Modi's face, he said it before all the journalists to hear. And he said it when he was asked a specific question on this point. The Prime Minister was as effusive in his praise of President Trump. Capture these sentiments, viewers.
We missed you. We missed you a lot.
मेरे लिए खुशी की बात है कि आते ही राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने एक मित्र की तरह मुझे पुराने अहमदाबाद के स्टेडियम की याद दिलाई। ये बात सही है कि ह्यूस्टन में हाउडी मोदी और गुजरात में अहमदाबाद में नमस्ते ट्रंप, वो दो एक ऐसी बहुत बड़े विशाल कार्यक्रम रहे जिसकी गूंज आज भी भारत के हर कोने में सुनाई दे रही है।
It's a great honor to have Prime Minister Modi of India. He is a great friend of mine for a long time. We've had a wonderful relationship.
जिस उत्साह से उनकी पहली टर्म में हमने मिलकर काम किया, वही उमंग, वही ऊर्जा और वही प्रतिबद्धता मैंने आज भी महसूस की है।
Well, he's a much tougher negotiator than me, and he's a much better negotiator than me. There's not even a contest.
There's not even a contest. Indeed, across the biggest bugbears, trade and tariff, illegal immigration, there seemed to be a genuine desire for consensus rather than point scoring. On tariffs, while there was some familiar good-natured jousting, good-humored jousting from Trump, the joint statement committed the two sides to evolving a mutually exclusive trade deal. Remember, viewers, the Prime Minister was walking into the Oval Office hours before, viewers, Trump had made a massive announcement saying that he was going to impose reciprocal tariffs on every country on earth that was doing business with America. So, the Prime Minister walks into the Oval Office. Hours before that, Trump makes his statement. Trump has won a massive mandate and majority. He's at the top of his game. But viewers, he doesn't press the point. This shows that DC, Washington DC, doesn't want to punish Delhi with an all or nothing tariff blanket. Viewers, perhaps that approach is being reserved for the real benders of international law. China, perhaps. On the tricky issue of illegal immigration, both India and United States have resolved to examine the root of the problem. This shows that Trump is ready to be patient and hasn't immediately consigned India to the list of what he calls are malign countries like Mexico, who in his words doesn't send their quote best unquote, but is quote sending people that are bringing lots of problems like drugs and crime unquote to America. Who knows, his readiness to take a wide angle look at the illegal immigration problem may even soften his approach to the manner in which illegal Indians are being deported back to India. Remember here, viewers, the opposition was geeing up the rhetoric saying, oh, let's see how powerful Modi is. Can he get Trump to change his own laws? I mean, viewers, it's a bit weird. But anyhow, that's what they were saying. Another flight has come. And remember, we have no evidence right now to suggest that those illegal Indians that were repatriated were done so with fetters. We don't know, viewers, because India has raised this issue. But on legal immigration, not illegal, but legal immigration, the H-1B, the green cards, etc., the joint statement has reflected America's traditional warm embrace of global STEM talent, especially from India, by putting in place, quote, innovative, mutually advantageous and secure mobility frameworks, unquote. In very simple language, America has said that we are open to Indians and Indian brainiacs to transform our economy while we are competing with China. None of that isolationist talk entered this particular document, viewers. On regime change in Bangladesh that the opposition once targeted Modi for not being alert enough about, US President Trump left questions for Modi to answer, appreciating India's stakeholdership in its own backyard. Viewers, one very important facet of a relationship is granting the other autonomy, respect. That's what Trump has done. You have your backyard. We understand that. There's a red line. You have your concerns. Deal with it. We're watching from a distance. Indeed, viewers, Trump has distanced himself from his predecessor Biden and his administration's approach to engaging with India, terming it, quote, gross incompetence, unquote. And he said these words in front of Prime Minister Modi. The genuine desire to regain India's trust and confidence is a healthy sign and was underlined by Trump deciding to do away with legal fetters on exporting top-of-the-line US arms to India, previously only reserved for military alliance partners. The ball is now in India's court. If we say yes, we can have them. That's a huge deal, viewers. It's a huge deal. It's a huge elevation. The fact that the punitive tariffs have not been applied immediately, that we will work out a reciprocal, mutually exclusive arrangement is a huge deal. No other country is getting that concession. With the points of convergence far outnumbering the points of contention, the skeptics in the opposition, especially the Congress, didn't have much to pick apart and appeared a little desperate by raising issues that had no real germane linkage to this entire bilateral agreement, viewers, or talks. Even Shashi Tharoor came out and said, I think that's a very good outcome, because otherwise the fear was there might be some hasty decisions made in Washington which would have affected our exports. This way, there is time to discuss and negotiate. He's a sensible man, viewers. He's been External Affairs Minister, at least MOS. We have got all that we could have expected, except for an assurance in the way the migrants were sent back. But viewers, even he perhaps knows that we cannot meddle in American laws. We can't change the way they interpret how they want to send back people. No one on earth can meddle, no foreigner, in America's internal affairs, viewers. Think about it. Modi is not a legislator sitting in the Senate or the House of Representatives. He can't vote to change an American law that says, no, we have to fetter the deportees. That is for Trump to decide and his party to decide. And that can only happen through an amendment. Rahul Gandhi, however, has come out and said, when you ask him in India, he keeps quiet. When you ask him in foreign land, he says it's a personal matter. Prime Minister Modi put a curtain on the corrupt practices of Gautam Adani. Even in the US, when filling the pockets of a friend is nation building for Prime Minister Modi, then bribery and looting of nation's assets will become personal matter only. And he's taken this jibe because some reporter asked Modi whether he interceded on behalf of Adani with Trump. And Modi said, look, we don't discuss personal people's problems and private individuals in talks about nations and their future and billions of people on either side. I mean, it's common sense, viewers. The meeting prompts several questions. Has the Prime Minister established without a shadow of doubt that he was able to secure India's interests in the face of rampaging Trump? The US press says it could have been bad. Despite trade friction, both sides walked away with deliverables on a potential trade deal, energy, military, etc. If the US media, mainstream media, which is no friend of Modi's, is saying this, viewers, then why is the opposition still carping on the sidelines? By focusing on issues that are beyond the scope of the bilateral, is the opposition trivializing India-US ties for petty political gain and point scoring? Was the skepticism expressed by the opposition leading up to the meeting a malicious attempt to knock PM Modi's confidence? Viewers, let's open this up. Let's have a conversation. I want to first begin with Mr. Taranjeet Sandhu, former Indian ambassador to the United States. In fact, he was just there before the current incumbent. So he's really up to speed with all the latest on the India-US front. So let me begin with Mr. Sandhu, and you'll remember, viewers, he was here with us yesterday. So this is an important conversation because yesterday we were building up, today he's going to assess. So Mr. Sandhu, has Modi been able to allay concerns that he wasn't capable of tackling Trump and pushing back?
So, Rahul, you of course saw him very clearly articulating that if President Trump follows his national interest, that Prime Minister follows the Indian national interest. But here I'll just draw your attention to look. He is, of course, handled 2014. He's handled 2017 when the administration changed there, and 2021, and now it's 2025. And I may just mention here from my personal recollection that in February of 2020, President Trump was backing out of the visit to India, the famous Ahmedabad. And I recall at that time, Prime Minister's persuasiveness had got him there. And in fact, in this conversation, you saw President Trump mentioned about the famous stadium and his visit to Ahmedabad. So I think it's definitely been allayed. I had in my conversation yesterday mentioned to you that the substance and the timing are very important. And I think it's important that they met, and the good rapport which both of them have has helped to actually have candid conversations on the issues which are going to be challenging, and I'm sure that's where the opportunities are rising.
So let me ask you, in which areas has India been able to hold its diplomatic ground in this meeting?
So, the 6 areas have been very clearly identified.
Right.
And they have mentioned that transformative changes, meaning discussions in all 6: defense, investment, trade, energy security, technology innovation, multilateral cooperation, and people to people. But let me point out 5 areas which I see very clearly where India is definitely in a position to get a good bargain. One, look, there's a possibility of getting more cheap oil and gas, which is key to our growth. As I indicated to you yesterday, that we require huge energy requirements.
Yes.
And second is the nuclear energy and the SMRs, as they are called. US is a producer of those. Now, SMRs are important solutions for us because, again, of our huge energy requirements. SMRs can be located in rural areas too. Now, third, I would say, is partnership in AI and chips. We have heard so much about artificial intelligence. I think United States and India are natural partners. And if you see in this joint statement, there is a mention of that. Very, very clear that there's going to be a focus and working together. And there's also talk of merit-based immigration. Now, please understand that this actually helps many of our youth who are studying there. There are more than 300,000 Indian students in STEM areas, and the H-1B expertise has been recognized.
Yes.
I think President Trump himself has spoken. So this will bring focus to the people who have talent and who have actually skills. So that's also the solution here too. If you look at our latest budget, both in terms of skilling and education, that's a focus. And last one, if I may just say, look, trade negotiations, on which so much has been said, actually this document pins down the discussion, and also that within the first 6 months. So actually, it's a big plus. If we can move smartly on that, we can have a trade deal.
Well, thank you, Mr. Sandhu, for joining us this evening and setting the baseline for this discussion. And I now want to open it. Thank you very much, sir. I know you have to go. Thank you very much. But let me just open this up, viewers, because this is very important. We have with us General G.D. Bakshi. We have with us Dr. Anand Ranganathan, Sanjay Jha. We have with us the BJP national spokesperson, Mr. Tuhin Sinha. We also have with us tonight Colonel Shukla, who is a strategic affairs analyst. But let me bring in India's number one expert here, and that's General Bakshi on defense matters, and also Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, I mean, I will call you tonight the number one face from the Congress side of the fence, because you have a view and you've expressed it several times in books, etc. So let's just put you up there, and let me ask you, why do you and the Congress party and certain ecosystem believe that we haven't been able to get what we should have? This is what I'm hearing from many India bloc leaders like Akhilesh Yadav today, other colleagues of yours in the Congress. Why is this happening?
Rahul, thank you very much for inviting me first to speak. I don't think it's a question of what the opposition expected Mr. Modi to get. It's more important about the way actually when nothing has been got and it is being positioned as some kind of a spectacular achievement. Let me answer to you the first point. Please remember that Donald Trump, the president, has called India as the king of tariffs. In fact, he says India is the biggest abuser of tariff. And if you look at the India-US trade, the surplus is approximately around 45 billion. And today in the press conference, he was very clear and he said that there will be a reciprocal tariff. And the biggest impact of that is going to be in India, on India, because our economy is already slowing down. Exports is a very key component of GDP growth, one of the 4 pillars of GDP growth. And if that gets hit further, you have a depreciating rupee, you have a flight of capital from India to the United States. This could be a very uneven and a turbulent time. And as you have noticed, Rahul, let's be real. For all the hype over Nirmala Sitharaman's budget, you can still see that the stock markets are crashing because at a macro level, there is an emerging panic. Point number 2. Donald Trump is on record to say, and it's there, you can play it out, it's hard to do business in India. And I have worked with American companies. You have a partnership with CNN. Americans look at business as the core of their relationship. And what are the words he said? He said it's got the highest tariffs. There is fraud. Our businesses are being hurt. There's a lot of waste and abuse. I mean, these were strong statements coming from the President of the United States in front of the Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister did not even contradict that. I mean, these are serious issues here. One more point in your debate. BRICS. Rahul, let me tell you this because you've invited me, and thanks for the respect here because I represent not just the Congress but the India Alliance. If you look at BRICS, India is a founder member of BRICS. And because Mr. Trump is worried about the de-dollarization, as all economists call it, he's actually rubbishing BRICS in front of the Prime Minister. I mean, he's gone to talk about the BRICS ought to be dead. When I believe BRICS with China, India, South Africa, etc., Brazil, etc., is a formidable challenge to the dominance of the Western financial system. The Prime Minister doesn't push back. So, I am worried here, and I don't want, we'll talk about Adani because I did expect Mr. Modi to say that, Adani is going to be investigated in India because of the bribery charges. So let's not even, I don't want to even get into Adani because Tuhin Sinha is going to be his legal and PR counsel. The larger issue here is that the Prime Minister did not get a statement on the humiliation of the illegal immigrants who were brought in here, not in the best of conditions, in a US military plane, allowing Donald Trump to play to his domestic gallery, and our own Indians getting humiliated. This is my opening statement.
Okay, viewers, Mr. Sanjay Jha is of course going by the rhetoric that Trump produces. Where he does it in front of somebody or he doesn't really make a difference. What has gone into the written statement, viewers, is what matters. And here, viewers, Sanjay Jha says nothing has happened. Before I bring in General Bakshi, I just want to quickly bring in 2 or 3 points. General Bakshi, Tahawur Rana. General Bakshi, Pakistan named, shamed in that statement. America has decided to completely break on the issue of parity that Pakistan seeks with India on sponsoring terror, which of course is a legacy that the Congress hard-coded into one of the agreements. You know that, General Saab. Tariff, which punitive tariff has been slapped on India as we speak? In fact, there is a mutually exclusive commitment to come up with a two-way agreement, a win-win agreement. Nothing has happened. American top-line armaments commitment to supply those to India, including a big aeroplane which is a 5th generation fighter. Khalistan anti-India elements have been put on notice. A list by India has been submitted and Trump has said in front of Modi that he's going to be considering that list. And viewers, interoperability, there is a reference to interoperability also, which is a huge leg up. Please read the statement. General Bakshi, how do you see this? And then I want to bring in Colonel Shukla, Dr. Ranganathan and Tuhin Sinha of the BJP. Yes, General Bakshi.
Rahul, the greatest impact has been at the grand strategic level, from which level for strategy and the rest of it, operational art, tactics, etc. Grand strategic level. Let me amplify. In the Biden administration, our relations had reached a nadir because the geopolitical, linchpin of the entire Indo-American strategic partnership had been undone. Previous administration said China is our great threat. China is the main competition. When Joe Biden came, he pivoted back to Europe. He said Russia is my main threat. Right? I am going to destroy the Russian economy. I am going to see that there is a coup in Moscow and Putin is driven out. Nothing of that sort happened. But in the bargain, he said, if you are not with us, you are against us. We haven't seen a more hostile American administration since Richard Nixon. And they had staged the coup in Bangladesh. Let's not pussyfoot around it. And the difference, Rahul? Donald Trump said, Mr. Modi will deal with Bangladesh. Here is a clear recognition of India's sphere of influence. In 1971, despite Henry Kissinger and Nixon and China, we had broken Pakistan in two, created a new nation state with the force of arms in Bangladesh. We had restructured subcontinental security. We had made India the preeminent power. Joe Biden did his best, damnedest to undo it by putting us in a 3.5 front war situation with Bangladesh as a hostile, inimical country, almost a clone of East Pakistan. Donald Trump has told you,
yes,
Mr. Modi is competent to deal with it. Have you understood the implication? It is first at the grand strategic level. Now, the previous administration had stabbed us in the bloody back, man. We had given them $1 billion for the LCA engine deal, GE 404414, which was supposed to power the Tejas and the AMCA. They gobbled our money and they didn't give us the aircraft, the engines for the last 2 years. Donald Trump has said that is going to be the first corrective. In the fighter deal of the century, we were offered only the F-16s and their derivative, souped up version F-21. F-16s had been given to Pakistan 30 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So that was the old mindset of equivalence. Pakistan gets the F-104, we get the F-5s, right? And we were forced to go to the Russians for the MiG-21s.
Yeah.
So, Rahul, we must understand the paradigm shift that has taken place.
That's one view.
Donald Trump won.
General Bakshi is
Donald Trump won.
Putting his facts out there for others to examine and respond to. Dr. Ranganathan and Colonel Shukla, let me bring you in, and I want to bring in Tuhin Sinha right after. Tuhin, let's hear everybody's position and then I'll frame some questions for you to respond to specifically. So Dr. Ranganathan, what do you make of this? You've been examining this entire run-up to this meeting over the last few days, and we've had conversations, you have a perspective. You may not be a security analyst, but you have a pretty informed perspective. Why don't you elaborate on this?
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Half of those are possibly more are experts, so I speak here as a layman. There are two issues here I'd like to talk on. Number one is the one that you started your wonderful debate with. But, in the last 11 years, Rahul, tell me one thing that Modi has done that has been appreciated by the opposition, even though half the things that he has done have been implement ideas of the opposition, like the farm laws, like the CAA, like the GST, and so many others. Tell me one. The problem is they promote open defecation because they hate Modi's Swachh Bharat. They promote obesity because they hate Modi's Fit India. One hopes Modi doesn't wake up one day and recommend breathing of clean air. All the opposition leaders will pick up axes in their thousands and begin chopping trees. Look, the point is, my issue is Modi should have taken the Adani question and retorted straight up. Why? When Rahul Gandhi calls Adani corrupt, have multiple Congress state governments continued to invest 85,000 crores of taxpayer money in his companies? क्या चल रहा है उनके बीच में deal? This is how you should have answered that question. Behral, the point of the matter is something else. Returning to the issue at hand. Look, there is no two ways about it. General Bakshi has elaborated this. The US is our vital trade and security partner. And unfortunately, because historically our foreign policy was shackled by obsolete Nehruvian thinking, we've had a cagey relationship with the USA, but things are on the bend. More than 34% of Indian stock market assets are American investments. Indo-US trade has surged from $16 billion in 1999 to $201 billion now, double of French-US trade. And for a change, India has a trade surplus of 50 billion, which is still 1/6 of China's trade surplus with the USA. So the real bee in Trump's bonnet is actually China for the moment, not India as far as tariffs are concerned, whatever his rhetoric might be. Returning to our relationship, NASA and ISRO are partnering. We have sent 200 American satellites into space. Our science collaboration is very strong. There is talk of building nuclear reactors together. Energy is a sector where both nations are looking to collaborate heavily. Time has come for us to realize we are what we are, Rahul, and we are what we are going to be because of hard power and not soft power. And so we must demand returns from Trump whenever he negotiates. Finally, on this point about tariffs, I need to say this. The opposition out here wants India to be first. Why is this hypocrisy when it doesn't want Trump to be American first there? Look, Trump wants to levy tariffs because there is a $300 billion trade deficit with China. So I want to ask the opposition out here. We have a $100 billion trade deficit with China. Should we raise our tariffs or not? Why this double speak when it comes to Trump and when it comes to India?
Rahul, can I give
that's a very good
quick response?
No, that's a very good one. But one second, I want to bring in Colonel Shukla. He's made some time. One second, Mr. Jha. He's made some time. So is Tuhin Sinha. Let them all get their opening thoughts. We'll have counters, no problems. They've also taken their time out. Colonel Shukla, I just want to draw your attention to a couple of things and I want your perspective. Shashi Tharoor comes out and says, I think that's a very good outcome because otherwise the fear was there might be some hasty decisions made in Washington which would have affected our exports. This way there is time to discuss and negotiate. So he's talking about this tariff trade gap, expectation gap. Then he goes on to say, we have got all that we could have expected, except for an assurance in the way the migrants were sent back. Now that's a separate question, but he says we could have got all we could have expected. Is Shashi Tharoor someone who makes ill-informed, politically expedient statements on foreign policy, or would you say that this was a well-considered, thought-out opinion to a question that was put to him fairly late in the day after the joint statement had been put out hours before? Colonel.
Rahul, firstly, thanks for having me on the show.
You're welcome, sir.
Second, we are making the mistake once again of completely polarizing this debate.
Okay.
That either it was a completely successful visit or it was a complete failure, with one side saying that it was a complete failure and the other side giving the other viewpoint. No. When the United States meets with India at the summit level, there are going to be concessions which are offered by the United States and there are going to be concessions that are accepted by India. It is not because of the great persona of the leaders in question. It's because of the power, influence and standing of the countries that are concerned. The United States cannot dismiss India as a sort of a non-entity. Neither can India expect to be treated by the United States as, a great superpower. Now, a couple of points which you have made, that, for example, the aircraft that was offered by the United States this time, the F-35, that Modi has done achieved some major concession by the United States. No, that's not the case. We have to admit that. The F-35 Joint Strike Fighter is unquestionably the premier aircraft in the world today. But India has already cast its die and gone the way of the Rafale, gone the way of French alliances. And now if it goes and gets the F-35, it would have gone from 7 different aircraft types to 8 different aircraft types. That is not a good idea. You are also sort of touting the H-1B visas and the sort of concessions being made to India on that. Now just remember that the United States is actually benefiting from each of these PhD students, doctors, specialists in various fields. By giving them American citizenship, it's not a concession to India. It's it's like using India to build up the United States in multiple fields, which is something that we all have seen and are proud of.
Okay.
But it's not a benefit to India. So I would say that let us...
Okay, but these points, Colonel Saab, that you're raising, the F-35, whether it's good or bad, that's a secondary issue. But
no,
the fact
not
that...
a secondary issue, that's a primary issue.
One second. It comes only whether India wants to go ahead and purchase them, right? I mean, you'll only discuss it when India says, okay, thank you for the offer. We are considering it. Now let's get into the technicalities to assess whether it's worth it or not. The point is it's been put on the table, which was not the case, as General Bakshi has pointed out earlier. We weren't being given access to these. So this is a concession. This is an expression of faith and trust and confidence in India. Just one second. And on this H-1B, I take your point on H-1B.
You're making a factually incorrect statement.
Okay, sir.
It was available even countries like Turkey, which, certainly do not enjoy the status in the United States.
Okay, General Bakshi will come in on that. He'll come in on that. But just one other point, Colonel Saab, just one other point. You said, H-1B, it's not a concession. Well, MAGA, the base that elected Trump wants H1B shut down. And Trump is right now in the horns of a dilemma. So Musk first said, no, it's a great thing, we should go ahead with it. Then he did a backflip. And he said, no, there are problems with H1B. In fact, we want the H1B cap to be actually opened. That would be a major concession. But the fact that it hasn't been scrapped. No, 1 second.
More Indian.
No, I know that, sir. We know how idiotic Trump's position or the MAGA base's position is on this. But the axe hasn't fallen. The guillotine hasn't come down on the necks of H1B. And we should say that that is an advantageous position to be in. I'm not saying it's a concession. And I just want to bring in the BJP national spokesperson. But before that, I just want to point out a NYT headline. This is the New York Times. Hates Mr. Modi. Okay. It says, Trump and Modi shove disputes into background in White House visit. Hours after President Trump paved the way for upending the United States trade relationship with India with broad reciprocal tariffs, he and Prime Minister Narendra Modi presented a united front during a news conference on Thursday on this issue at the White House. Viewers, the NYT says that they've closed ranks. This is a massive triumph for Modi. Anyhow, I want to get the BJP national spokesperson in. The charge that is being made by Akhilesh Yadav and others from the India bloc is, this is great PR work. As usual, Modi has excelled himself in PR. Explain, sir. Respond. Nothing has come out of it, says Sanjay Jha. Zilch. Nada.
Well, good evening. Good evening. Good evening, Rahul. Good evening, everybody. Great achievements also need good PR, and I don't think there is anything wrong in selling a good achievement, a great achievement.
Well put.
This is a historic day in Indo-US relationships. This is a historic day when it comes in the history of India-US relations. The enormity of collaboration which is being explored in 4 sectors, particularly AI, defense, energy security and space technology is just one part of it. But how time has come a full circle, that messaging is more important than anything else. There was a time, 15 years ago when Modi ji was denied visa to the US, supported by an obnoxious UPA government over here. Today you have President Trump, hold the chair for him while he sits down. Today you have, there was a time in 2011 when the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Modi ji, was the only person saying Tahapur Rana, the mastermind of 2611, should be extradited. Today, you have Trump saying that Tahapur Rana is being extradited. We will also extradite others. The list is pretty long, but we are working on it. You have Trump tell the world that Modi is, competent to handle Bangladesh. These are very important messages. These are very important messages, and if the opposition is not cognizant of it or is not equipped to understand it, then bad luck for the opposition. The trade, understanding $500 billion worth of trade by 2030, and most of it, the details would be worked out in subsequent summits later this year, particularly by fall or autumn. I think it's a brilliant start, way better than we had expected. See, I heard Sanjay very carefully, but most of his, argument today are, he's in a decline mode. Trump has a certain style. He has an overwhelming style of talking. He has an overbearing style of talking. You can't change that. He has a slightly isolationist approach. But when it comes to India, the fondness that he has for Prime Minister Modi, the personal rapport that he has,
maybe you're presaging.
Apart from,
maybe you've given us a very comprehensive view here, and you haven't certainly balked at my using the term PR or the opposition using the term PR, turning it into actually a positive relations, you've said. Perfect relations, you've said. But listen, I just want to quickly run us through 2-3 other headlines, viewers. This is the Washington Post, the WAPO. It says cooperation on trade and defense plus some mutual praise. That's the headline. LA Times, Modi visit with Trump could boost US-India relations. LA Times, viewers. Boston Globe, cooperation on trade and defense plus some mutual praise. Same sort of a headline. Indian Prime Minister Modi strengthens bonds amid tariff tensions. Trump, Indian Prime Minister, Modi strengthens bonds amid tariff tensions. This is the Washington Times, viewers. There are several other newspapers I can keep going through. So the consensus in the American press is that the bonds are actually strengthening, and that bugbear, that tariff bugbear, has been kicked down the road a little bit. Yes, it has to be addressed, but the great thing is going to be done in a mutually exclusive framework. We are not going to be part of the rabble, viewers, that is going to get slapped. So this is great news, but I just want to pivot to the next aspect of this entire conversation. And viewers, let me go into that, and we're going to have a couple of other guests. General Bakshi will stay with us, but I just want to move on a little bit. Prime Minister Modi has underlined his status, viewers, as the only Indian politician in the current ecosphere of Indian politicians that can champion and guard India's interests. Now, you'll think that I'm saying this to butter Modi up. No, viewers. I'm saying it on the back of a hard fact that you cannot negotiate. In a matter of minutes, Prime Minister Modi successfully got America to dump Pakistan. He got America to denounce the country as a staging ground for Islamist terrorists and got Trump to promise to extradite 2611 plotter Tahawur Rana. This is a body blow because now India can get its hands on the proof it needs to link Pakistan to terror and expose its attempts to hyphenate India. Not just in India, but also in the greater Asian geography, viewers, amongst all other neighbors. In fact, all of this was hard-coded into the Indo-American joint statement. And let me read that out to you. It said, and I quote, they committed, which is India and United States, committed to strengthen cooperation against terrorist threats from groups including Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba in order to prevent heinous acts like the attacks in Mumbai on 26/11 and the Abbey Gate bombing in Afghanistan on August 26, 2021. The leaders further called on Pakistan, the name, by name, viewers, on Pakistan to expeditiously bring to justice the perpetrators of the 26/11 Mumbai and Pathankot attacks and ensure that its territory is not used to carry out cross-border terrorist attacks, unquote. This statement, viewers, naming and shaming Pakistan, happens to have come on the anniversary of the Pathankot attack. Minutes later, now viewers, you judge a news by the reaction to it, the immensity, the volubility of the outrage or reaction. Minutes later, the Pakistanis totally lost it. Islamabad accused America of launching a one-sided character assassination. The man on your screens, Muhammad Ishaq Dar, Deputy Prime Minister of Pakistan, he's there in the middle of your screens. He comes out, viewers, and he says, we consider Pakistan's specific reference in the Indo-US joint statement to be one-sided, misleading, and contrary to diplomatic norms, unquote. Now, Pakistan is entitled to fret and fume, but let's face it, Prime Minister Modi has succeeded in adding another feather in his cap as he secures India's national interest, viewers, and he's done it consistently. And I'm going to put out the hard facts for you to see on your screens. No one nails it like the Prime Minister, viewers, when it comes to tackling Pakistan. From surgical strikes in September 2016, the Balakot strikes, India pulls out of the SAARC summit to shame Pakistan in the region, isolate Pakistan. June 2018, diplomatic efforts successful as Pakistan is formally placed on FATF grey list despite China's nefarious backing. We crossed the international border in 2019 to enter mainland Pakistan to launch an aerial attack, Balakot, viewers. You remember that. 2019, final blow to Pakistan's proxy war in Kashmir as India abrogates Article 370, making the Constitution of India applicable to Kashmir. We tackled China in Galwan. I mean, the list is endless and keeps going on. I just want to open this up, viewers, because certain questions have to be asked tonight. And I'm going to bring in the main question of the day, which is, can anyone tonight contest the claim that the Prime Minister exceeds pretty much every other national leader in protecting India's national interest? And let's bring in the left, the India Bloc constituents, Vivek Srivastava. Sir, you've been saying that Modi's 36, 56, 106 in chest is actually very, very small. It's 36 millimeters. That's what people have been saying in the opposition. Today, he has done what I don't think any other prime minister was able to do, which was to bring America to totally kick China in the shins. Now, what do you have to say, sir?
Okay, I'll tell you what I have to say. You know, a very bad name has been given to the country by this prime minister. Agents like Vivek Ramaswamy who sell this nation and the Indians to get a position in the White House, they are the ones who are the heroes of Modi. Mr. Elon Musk came with his wife and children to meet my prime minister. You know, I do not know if the prime minister went there or he came. और आप फोटो देखिए साहब, पूरा प्रतिनिधि मंडल बैठा हुआ है इंडिया का, और उसके ऑपोजिट कौन बैठा? Elon Musk with a few kids around. What the hell is happening here? Indian prime minister and the entire, the whole contingent of representatives that gone from here. I mean, he's just a vyapari, yaar. He is the Adani of America, and you are the prime minister of this nation. You should know what Mrs. Indira Gandhi did to Nixon, made him wait in the Blair House for 45 minutes. That is India, and that is the Indian Prime Minister. Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, when he was, it was drizzling, and he was crossing the road and trying to go to his car with the security personnel.
You hear
Ronald
the meltdown.
Reagan, the President of the United States, went ahead, took the umbrella and escorted Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, the Prime Minister of my country, personally. That is respect.
General Bakshi, I implore General Bakshi, please spare Vivek, please. General Bakshi, please, look away now.
No. General Bakshi needs to put his point across. Our Vivek, not Vivek Ramaswamy, the more illustrious Vivek. I'm talking about Vivek Srivastava, the one who lost it tonight.
इनका नाम विवेक किसने रख दिया, मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा।
नहीं, कोई बात नहीं, ऐसे नहीं बोलते. Poor man. Illustrious he is in the left circles. General Bakshi, what do you make of this meltdown? That Musk came with 3 kids and 2 nannies, and that he sat there, the Indian delegation, the Adani of America. I mean, what kind of thinking is this? Are modern men not expected to take their children anywhere? He's bringing them to meet a very eminent personality, a man who has won the trust of 1 billion people on this earth. I mean, I would take my children if I were ever invited, General. I mean, what are we talking about? Here we are talking about a man who is delivering Pakistan the greatest slap across its face in an entire generation. I think the last slap they got was from Indira Gandhi. This is how far back we are going.
Rahul, I thought my old friend Vivek would raise some substantive issues. I'm surprised, Vivek, you only talked of optics. Right? Now, as a matter of optics, let me respond at that level first. He was put in the Blair House, where the British Prime Minister, supposed to be the closest ally of the United States, was always ensconced. This is the first time that instead of in a hotel, Westoria or whatever, he's been brought opposite the White House in the Blair House, right? And all the people have gone to meet him. Yes, in France, he met the Vice President Vance and his children. They had their birthday. I thought it was so nice, a family gathering kind of a thing. It gives a very nice touch, a very, very personal touch. He greeted those children. I love children. I don't know what you have against
and this was an informal meeting. This is not something
children,
that he was doing.
They had sunshine.
No. It was official. It was an official meeting.
It was a courtesy call. It was a courtesy call, sir. It was a courtesy call. He called on the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister gave him time. Yes. No. When Trump was asked, did he go in his official capacity? He says, no, he didn't. Anyhow, viewers, we can't have all this.
Why were the other representatives present?
It doesn't matter, sir. Why shouldn't they be? Don't you want to meet Trump, Musk? Would you not like to see your Prime Minister receive a gift? Where should they go?
And 3-piece suits.
Where should they? Should they hide in some bedrooms in Blair House?
Language of all those guys who are sitting.
So what?
I mean, Elon Musk is just another vyapari boss. He's
another vyapari. The Prime Minister meets the head of Google. Another vyapari. He meets the head of Infosys. He meets the head of.
20 guys formally dressed.
What are you talking about? He meets several people when he goes on. Okay, even if this was a formal meeting, hang on. Even if it's a formal meeting.
So what did you want in shirt and tie?
1 second. Are we, Dr. Ranganathan, are we living in the Stone Ages, where if you are
I
a
think
father,
he is
you can't take your
he's
children.
trivializing the debate.
I mean, we
Rahul.
bring children
Let's
to our
talk of more
offices now
substantive issues.
because our
He's
wives are
trivializing
working
the
and they
debate.
should have the
Will you
freedom to
take
do
the
what they
children?
want to, and we have to
Will
do
you
our
take your
bit.
children when you go to
No, what are
interview
you
the Prime
talking
Minister?
about, Vivek?
Sir, you won't take your
Srivastava.
children when you go to interview the Prime Minister. सर आप प्राइम मिनिस्टर का इंटरव्यू लेने जाएंगे अपने बच्चों को लेके नहीं जाएंगे
Vivek Srivastava, I know
You have
people who
interviewed
have,
the
by
Prime
the way.
Minister so many
I
times, sir.
took my child to meet Bill Gates when I was interviewing him. Because I wanted her to be inspired by a person
perhaps, but then he is
who
not
is at the
enter-
cutting edge of
he is
science.
not
I
a
don't want to get
Vyapari, he is-
distracted by this man's puerile arguments. 1 minute. Come with something. Maybe that's why the left has got confined to 3 seats in wherever. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan.
No, first of all, my suspicions that Vivek serenades like a peacock in front of Chinese is confirmed today literally. He's looking very resplendent. I don't know what he's going to serenade for. But, when he talks about bachcho ko leke jata, I remember, was it 2008 or 2009, that MOU with the Chinese Communist Party, jab Sonia Gandhi gayi thi apne bacche ko leke Rahul Gandhi ko, tab to Vivek ne kuch nahi kaha tha.
Not in the capacity.
Now, please,
In
Vivek,
which
I will not
capacity?
interrupt you. Can we not, Rahul?
Yeah,
why on
look,
earth did we-
I don't know, sir.
which capacity did you
Vivek, please let Dr. Ranganathan finish. He never interrupted you. Please.
Yeah, no, I think as General
Challenge
Bakshi is rightly
authorities instead
saying.
of serving them.
Okay, let him finish, please. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Vivek deliberately derailed this debate, which was a very serious debate on Tahabur Rana, because it's not just that Modi and Trump have slapped Pakistan. They have slapped the communists and all this left brigade as well with this amazing decision. Look, I think it is great that this Pakistani terrorist and 2611 mastermind Tahabur Rana would be extradited. But I want to go a layer beyond, if I may, Rahul, in just a minute.
Of course.
Let us remember, we are fighting Rana, who did not create the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Because we dare not fight the fundamentals that created Rana. There are not just thousands of Ranas, Rahul. There are millions of them. And perhaps the only time I'm prepared to believe in bad karma is when I see the kind of neighbor we have in Pakistan. कुछ तो गलत किया होगा हमने पिछले जन्म में जो हमें ऐसा neighbor मिला. The entire edifice of this nation is founded upon hatred for Hinduism and of India. From Jinnah.
I have to remind you in every
Okay,
debate.
let's
you are an
lower his
atheist.
fader, please, Vivek. Please, don't do this. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Go ahead.
From Jinnah, the man who ate pork and drank alcohol, to Imran, the man who rubbed dal makhni on his chest to attract the female of the species, to an army puppet now. Pakistan has been run by scheming charlatans filled with this supremacist notions of religious brotherhood and hatred for India. The hatred became acute when Pakistan broke into two of its own internal stress. A nation that was based on religion could not keep itself together to celebrate its silver jubilee. And Rahul, just 10 seconds. What more proof does one need that Pakistan is a rogue terror state when its sitting cabinet minister says on the floor of this cave that, and I quote, our big success in Pulwama is the success of Imran Khan's Pakistan. It is your success. It is our success, unquote.
Well, viewers, in a few months, Tahabur Rana will be here. And it will have happened because of the Prime Minister's dogged efforts. It will have happened also because of the Prime Minister being able to build a case against Pakistan at the international level, so much so that one of the 3As has dumped Pakistan. One of the 3As. You know the other two. I leave it at this, viewers. Palki Sharma coming up with the Vantage.
Presented by
Your Excellency, राष्ट्रपति ट्रम्प,
President Trump,
दोनों देशों के डेलीगेट्स,
delegates of both countries,
मीडिया के साथियों,
friends from the media,
नमस्कार।
Namaskar.
सबसे पहले
I would like to, first of all,
राष्ट्रपति ट्रम्प को
express
मेरे शानदार
my
स्वागत
heartfelt
और
gratitude
आतिथ्य सत्कार के
to
लिए
my dear friend President
हार्दिक
Trump
आभार व्यक्त
for
करता
the
हूं।
grand welcome and hospitality
राष्ट्रपति
accorded to
ट्रम्प
me.
ने
President Trump's
भारत और अमेरिका
leadership
संबंधों को
has been
अपने नेतृत्व
instrumental in nurturing India-US ties
जीवंत बनाया
and
है।
making them vibrant.
जिस उत्साह से
I could
उनकी
feel
पहली
today
टर्म में
the same enthusiasm, the same enthusiasm, the same energy, the same commitment that we had worked with during our first term. Our discussions today highlighted our pride in our accomplishments during his first term, the deep mutual trust that we share, and also the resolve to attain new goals.
मैंने आज भी महसूस की है, आज की चर्चाओं में उनके पहले टर्म में हमारी उपलब्धियों का संतोष और गहरे आपसी विश्वास का सेतु था। साथ ही नए लक्ष्यों को प्राप्त करने का संकल्प भी था। हम मानते हैं कि भारत और अमेरिका का साथ और सहयोग एक बेहतर विश्व को शेप कर सकता है। फ्रेंड्स, अमेरिका के लोग राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप के मोटो मेक अमेरिका ग्रेट अगेन यानी मागा से परिचित है। भारत के लोग भी विरासत और विकास की पटरी पर विकसित भारत 2047 के दृढ़ संकल्प को लेकर तेज गति शक्ति से विकास की ओर अग्रसर है। अमेरिका की भाषा में कहूं तो विकसित भारत